I'd like to invite the public to that. Again, it's at Glenbrook in their clubhouse, 6 p.m. on the 25th of March. And I'll remind you at our next meeting. Just one future agenda item, and we'll have a flyer soon. One future agenda item. You know, I've been following the sphere of influence application, public outreach process pretty closely. Yeah, I think we all have. A lot of people have. It's been talked about. A lot of people are participating in it, which is a great thing. But a lot of the opposition, I would guesstimate between 75 and 80% of it is coming from one thing, and that's the fact that our application for sphere of influence in front of LAFCO still has the floodplain in it. You know, and I just thought a lot about it. I mean, I've been on record before. I don't support it anyway, but just given the way the opposition has been so vocal, I think it's time to take a step back and refocus the city of Elk Grove on its core municipal services, and that's growing our jobs and keeping our public safe. So I want to propose that we agendize the discussion item, agendize an action item at our next March meeting to amend our application to exclude the floodplain out of the sphere of influence. I've talked to the opponents of that in great depth. And again, I think the groups that represent probably 75 or 80% of the fierce opposition, and they'll speak for themselves if we move forward and agendize this, but that their concerns go away if we take the floodplain out of our application. So I'd look to concurrence from my colleagues to agendize that in our second meeting in March.
Is this more just for a discussion on this, or what is it you're looking for?
Yeah, I want a discussion leading towards an action, and that's amending our application.
You said action. I mean, I'm all for discussing it. Discussions don't hurt anything, but I'm not sure about an action item.
Yeah, I'm willing for discussion on it.
Yeah, all right, let's have the discussion.
I'm willing to discuss it.
Discussion.
Yeah, I'm willing to discuss it. I think it's premature to remove it. I don't think we're in the middle of our outreach sessions, and I know that the opponents have been very vocal about their reasoning. I don't think we have yet heard the other side of the coin on what benefits come from leaving it in. And I think we're in the middle of our MOU process with the county. And so, you know, if we need to, if there are constructive criticisms where we can tighten language on that, or what we can do to allay fears, I'm all for that. But I think that removing it, I haven't heard a good enough argument for or against it right now. So it's, and I don't think that leaving it in there at any time during the process up to and including the LAFCO hearing, I think if we remove it out, we're essentially taking away what could be a good reason to have it in. So I'm not saying that I'm going to leave it in there forever all the way through the process, but I think it's premature to carve it out at this point.
Well, I appreciate the willingness to have the discussion. I look forward to doing that in 2 weeks, and I'll, you know, and providing a counter to that point, because I think it's actually muddying the waters in a way where it doesn't need to be. You know, we do, as a city, we need to refocus on our core municipal services, and that is growing our jobs and protecting our public. Getting to a point where we're having to implement policies and procedures around floodplain land, to me, is just not appropriate for us to do at this time.
Councilman Davis, if I may ask, before I ask you the question, what's our agenda look like on the 25th? Because I know we were going to have a lot of speakers, so if we can, let's see what it's going to look like.
Can you give me? Can you run through the first item, and then I can come back and tell you?
Okay, thank you. That's before we give staff direction to bring it to the next. Is that all right? If it's a real, you know, heavy. Well, because I know we're going to have a lot of speakers, and I don't want to, you know, be cutting them off at, you know, 1 minute per person either.
Well, I think we deal with that prospect at every meeting, and that's a good thing. I mean, the public wants to participate, so I think unless you mentioned, unless the city manager says there's some reason that doesn't work, I don't.
Yeah, but there's also criticism that we meet until 11 o'clock at night, and you know.
We know of 2 items that are coming on the 24th. One is a discussion about putting the question about the mayor on the ballot, and the second, we have currently scheduled for right now a discussion of the transit fund and transit services, given what is going on at RT and some sales tax projections that are coming down the pipe for transit services.
Okay. If you all want it for discussion at the next council meeting?
I want to discuss it, but I mean, it's just whatever. I don't want to be here all night either. So, to me, whatever's going to balance out where we can have
The other option you have is to schedule a conversation about the SOI for April 14th, because the last discussion session that we will be having concerning the SOI will be held on March 31st here.
Can I ask a question? Isn't the environmental analysis about to begin, so wouldn't it be better to have a discussion sooner rather than later, or not? I mean, I'm just curious.
It's going to take 9 months to get the EIR done.
Okay.
So I'm not real sure 2 weeks is going to make or break that.
Okay. That's fine. I mean,